On the drive-in today, I was stuck behind a school bus, and I started doing that thing you do when you're bored in traffic, just, counting the kids' heads in the windows. One, two, three. It feels like the most primal, intuitive thing we do. You see a group, you count them. Done.
It's so satisfying, right? It's concrete. But if you've ever tried to get a computer to count people, you know that intuition just, it goes right out the window.
Which is exactly what we're digging into today. We're looking at a stack of documents about something called Category 1 determination.
Hmm.
And honestly, determination is the right word because this is not a head count. It feels more like a high-stakes logic puzzle where the pieces just keep moving.
It really is. We're looking at the MSIX system, the Migrant Student Information Exchange. And our mission today is to figure out how the system decides who counts and who doesn't. Specifically, the difference between the Category 1 included list and the Category 1 excluded list.
And before you tune out thinking this is just administrative boredom, the stakes here are massive. This determines funding, it determines support. It's about visibility for these kids.
Mhm.
And what struck me reading this is the precision. I mean, if you are off by a single day, literally 24 hours, a child can effectively vanish from the system.
That's the key takeaway. This is a masterclass in defining your terms. We're going to walk through the digital gates a student has to pass to get into that included box. And spoiler alert, it is so much harder than just showing up to class.
So let's treat this like a riddle. We have a hypothetical student. Let's call him Alex. Alex is sitting at a desk. He's there. He's learning. But does the system even see him? What's the very first hurdle Alex has to clear?
The first hurdle is what the documentation calls the foundation. We have to establish residency, but we have to do it in a very specific window of time. They call it the performance period.
Okay, performance period. So that's our time frame. We have a bracket on the calendar.
Correct. And to prove Alex is there during that bracket, you can't just say, oh, he's here. You need a data point. And the rules are incredibly strict. There are only 4 specific dates that count as proof.
I saw that list. It seems surprisingly short.
It is. You have the enrollment date, the withdrawal date, the residency date, and the residency verification date.
Okay, hold on. Enrollment and withdrawal. Those seem easy. You sign up or you leave. Hard dates. Residency date seems pretty self-explanatory too. But that last one, residency verification date. That sounds like bureaucratic word salad. What does that actually mean?
It's actually the most nuanced one of the 4. The source text defines it as the specific calendar date when a child's residency for at least 1 day within the performance period has been confirmed.
Confirmed for at least 1 day. So let's unpack that. It's not the day they moved in. It's the day someone checked.
Exactly. It's the timestamp on the stamp of approval. Imagine a school administrator physically or, digitally checking a file and saying, yes, on this specific Tuesday, Alex was here. That date, the date of the check, that is the verification date.
Okay, so here's the trap then. Let's say Alex moves in before the performance period starts. He's been there for months. He's still there after it ends. But nobody checked his file during that period. Does he count?
Nope. Under the strict rules of what they call data logic issue, no date that establishes residency, no, he doesn't count.
That is wild. He's sitting in the chair the whole time.
But the data point, that specific date, it didn't land inside the bracket. The rule is that one of those 4 dates must occur during the performance period. You could have a perfectly valid enrollment date, but if it falls a week before the window opens and you don't have a verification date inside the window, well, the system's logic gate just stays closed.
So it's like a camera shutter. If you aren't in the frame when the shutter clicks, you aren't in the picture, no matter how long you've been standing there.
That's a perfect analogy, and that is just step 1, just getting your foot in the door.
Okay, so let's assume we navigated that. Someone verified Alex on a Tuesday inside the performance period. We're good, right? He's Category 1 included.
Not even close.
I figured you were going to say that.
Alex has just passed the residency check. Now, he has to run what I'm calling the gauntlet. The source material outlines 5 specific criteria labeled A through E that must all be satisfied.
All of them. You don't get like a best 4 out of 5.
0 margin for error. He fails 1, he lands on the excluded list.
All right, let's run the gauntlet. Criterion A. This looked like the age window.
It is, and this is where you really have to watch the prepositions. The text says the date that establishes residency, that date we just fought to get, must occur on or after the child's 3rd birthday.
Okay, so toddlers are out. You have to be at least 3. That seems standard.
Correct. But look at the upper limit. That date must occur before the child's 22nd birthday.
Before, not on or before.
No.
That feels like a really significant distinction in the world of data.
It's huge. Let's say Alex has his 22nd birthday on September 1st. If his residency verification date is September 1st,
He's out.
he's out. He is aged out of the system the precise moment that clock strikes midnight on his birthday.
Wow. That seems incredibly harsh. I mean, he's the same person he was the day before.
He is, but the funding stream isn't. Usually these age cutoffs are tied to federal definitions for youth services. 22 is often that hard wall. The system isn't being mean, it's being legally precise.
Okay, so Alex is 16. He's safe on criterion A. Now you get to criterion B. I have to admit, I stared at this one for a while. It looks like a math equation from a standardized test.
This is definitely the heavy lifting of the document. Criterion B involves the QAD, the qualifying arrival date.
Right, and this is crucial because we're talking about migrant students. The arrival is the whole reason they are in this database.
Exactly. This date tracks when the student made a qualifying move. But you can't just have moved at some point in your life. The move has to be relevant to the residency we just established.
So how do they link them?
With a very, very specific calculation. The rule states, the qualifying arrival date must occur on or within 36 months minus 1 day before the residency date.
Whoa, slow down. 36 months minus 1 day.
Yes.
That minus 1 day is just sticking in my brain. Why not say 3 years? 36 months is 3 years. Why are we subtracting a day?
Think of it like a validity tether. You have Alex in the classroom today. That's the residency date. You hold a rope that stretches back in time to when he arrived. That rope is exactly 36 months minus 1 day long. If his arrival is further back than that rope can reach, the connection snaps.
Okay, I get the rope concept, but I'm still hung up on the precision. Why minus 1 day?
It's about preventing overlap. In database logic, if something is valid for exactly 36 months and you arrive on day 1 and you try to claim eligibility on the very last day, depending on how the code is written, that might be seen as pushing past the limit.
It's a fence. It's building a fence.
Right. By saying minus 1 day, they are creating a definitive, unarguable gap. If you arrived exactly 36 months ago today, you are no longer considered recently arrived under this statute. You have crossed the threshold into being settled.
That's fascinating. It's the difference between being a migrant student and a resident student in the eyes of the code. That single day shifts your identity.
Precisely. It ensures that the move is still fresh enough to warrant the specific services Category 1 provides.
So if Alex arrived 36 months and 2 days ago.
He's out. The system assumes he's been there long enough to not need this specific intervention anymore.
Man, okay. So Alex is 16. He arrived 2 years ago. He's well within the 36-month rope. He's cleared criterion A and B. What's criterion C?
Criterion C deals with the EED.
We really are just swimming in acronyms today.
Welcome to government data. ED stands for eligibility expiration date.
Okay, this one sounds like the expiration date on a carton of milk.
It functions exactly like that. Every migrant student has a period of eligibility. The rule here is simple. The eligibility expiration date must occur on or after the residency date.
So you can't use a residency date that happens after your eligibility has already gone bad.
Correct. If your eligibility expired on Tuesday and you try to establish residency on Wednesday, the system rejects it. The permission slip to be in the program has to be valid at the moment you claim residency.
That seems fair. If the license is expired, you can't drive the car.
Exactly.
All right, next hurdle. Criterion D. This one was about graduation, and this felt a bit like a game over clause.
It is a termination logic. Criterion D states, if a graduation or HSE date is submitted, it must occur on or after the residency date.
HSE is high school equivalency, right? Like a
Right.
GED.
Yeah.
So let's play this out. If Alex graduated high school in June, and he tries to enroll in a program in September,
He's flagged. If the graduation date is before the residency date, the logic assumes his secondary education journey is complete. He's crossed the finish line.
he's done. You can't go back and be counted as a K-12 student if you already have the diploma.
Exactly. The system is designed to support children in their education. If you've finished, you're no longer the target demographic for this count.
But what if he graduates during the residency period?
Then he's fine. Because the rule says the graduation must be on or after the residency date. So if he's resident on Monday and graduates on Friday, he was still a student on Monday. He counts.
Got it. Chronology is everything here. Okay, we have one last gate, criterion E. This one just looked like a list of random numbers.
It looks like noise, but it's the final digital bouncer. This is the enrollment type check.
The text lists, what, 6 numbers?
Yes, enrollment type COO1, O2, O3, O4, O5, or O6.
And do we know what those stand for? Or is it just, if you aren't on the list, you aren't getting in?
Usually in these systems, O1 might be regular school year, O2 might be intersession, O3 summer, and so on. They just represent valid educational settings.
And if Alex has some weird code, like '07,
Denied.
what about '99?
Denied. Even if he is the perfect age, arrived yesterday, hasn't graduated, and has a valid verification date, if someone keyed in enrollment tech 99, maybe as a placeholder or an error, the gate slams shut.
It's purely binary.
It is a pure code check. It doesn't care about the child's story. It only cares about the field in the database.
So let's look at Alex now. He has a residency verification date inside the performance period. He's 16. He arrived 2 years ago. His eligibility hasn't expired. He hasn't graduated. And his enrollment code is 001.
Congratulations, Alex. You are officially on the Category 1 included list.
That is exhausting.
It is a lot of stars that have to align perfectly.
And that complexity really brings us to the other half of this document, Category 1 excluded list. When I first saw that, I assumed it was just the reject pile, the trash bin for bad data. But the document frames it differently.
Very differently. It explicitly states that the excluded list contains children who appear in the state's data but failed one of the checks we just discussed. But, and this is the crucial part, it says this list is for comparison purposes only.
So it's not a trash bin. It's a detective's case file.
Exactly. The text encourages states to use this list to, quote, examine reasons why these children have not been included. It's the system saying, hey, we see this kid, but he didn't pass the logic test. You might want to double check that.
That's actually really reassuring because humans make mistakes.
All the time.
If I'm a state administrator and I know Alex should be on the included list, I see him in the hallway every day, but he's not on the count. I go to the excluded list to find him.
Right. And the source document actually highlights a very specific data logic issue to look out for. It calls it no date that establishes residency.
Which loops us all the way back to the beginning. The foundation.
It warns that this error is the most common reason for exclusion. It usually means the enrollment or verification date just didn't land in that performance period window.
So if you're troubleshooting, that's the first thing you check. Did we miss the window? Did someone type 2024 instead of 2025?
Correct. But the document gives a checklist for states. If the state determines that a valid date does exist, they have to manually run the gauntlet we just did.
They have to become the computer.
They have to sit down and ask, is the date between age 3 and 22? Is the QAD within the 36-month minus 1-day window? Did the eligibility expire?
It's essentially asking the human to debug the data logic.
That's a great way to put it, because the system is rigid. It has to be. If the human entry is slightly off, maybe the QAD is 1 day too old, or the enrollment code is wrong, the system rejects it. The excluded list is the prompt for the human to go back and ask, is this right, or is this a typo?
You know, breaking it down like this, you really feel the tension between the reality of a student's life and the reality of a database.
Oh, absolutely.
To a teacher, a student is a person. They have a name, a personality. But to the MSIX system, that student is just a collection of dates and codes. And if those codes don't mesh perfectly, like gears in a Swiss watch, the counting stops.
That is the inherent trade-off of any large-scale data system. They require absolute definitions. Residency can't be a vague feeling of living somewhere. It has to be a verification date. Arriving recently can't be a few years ago. It has to be 36 months minus 1 day.
It really emphasizes the importance of the data entry clerk. I mean, think about it. You could be the most dedicated teacher in the world, but if the person in the front office mistypes the qualifying arrival date by 1 digit,
then the link breaks. The child disappears from the count. And that affects funding, it affects resource allocation. The data logic issue isn't just a computer glitch, it's a potential gap in support for a real human being.
That's a heavy realization. We started this by saying counting is simple, just 1, 2, 3. But when you look at Category 1 determination, counting is really about maintenance. It's about maintaining the integrity of these logic gates so that the digital shadow matches the real kid.
Digital shadow, I like that. It's about ensuring that the data profile accurately reflects the physical reality. If they don't match, the system fails the child.
So to recap our journey today, to get on the Category 1 included list, you need the right date inside the tight performance period window. You need to be the right age, strictly under 22. You need that QAD tether to be less than 36 months minus a day. You need valid eligibility, no prior graduation, and one of 6 specific codes.
It is a logic puzzle with 0 margin for error.
And if you miss, You land on the excluded list, just waiting for a sharp-eyed administrator to come rescue you from data purgatory.
That's the hope, yeah.
It's fascinating stuff. It's the invisible plumbing of the education system. We usually only talk about the water, the students and teachers, but today we really looked at the pipes, and man, those pipes are narrow.
But understanding the pipes is the only way to ensure the water gets where it needs to go. If we don't understand the logic gates, we can't fix the leaks.
I love that. Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive into Category 1 determination. It's a lot of rules, a lot of acronyms. Hopefully, now it makes a little more sense why the system is so demanding.
It's demanding for a reason. Accuracy is the currency of equity in this case.
Before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We talked a lot about that 36 months minus 1 day rule.
The QAD constraint.
Right. Why minus 1 day? It's such a specific, almost aggressive little subtraction. It suggests a level of boundary setting that separates human flexibility from database rigidity. We humans might say, hey, it's been about 3 years. The database says it has been 3 years minus 1 day. You are safe. It has been exactly 3 years. You are out.
It is a binary cliff edge.
Exactly. And it makes me wonder, how many other aspects of our lives are governed by a minus 1 day algorithm that we don't even know about? How many lists are we on or not on because of a single digit in a server somewhere? Are you 1 day too old for a discount? 1 day too late for a claim? 1 day too early for a benefit?
That is a question worth asking. We live our lives in analog, but we're governed by digital.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.